Feels like I'm deaf from the left. Recording? Awesome. So, Damiano, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, my name is Damiano. I'm an agency owner. I've been an agency owner for the last decade or so. I've had 3 agencies in that time. I grew and sold 2 of them, and now I'm working on my third. And yeah, just been completely immersed in agency life. Most of my friends are agency owners. I'm really into this lifestyle, I guess.
Awesome. Do you mind expanding what agency consists of? Because I think a lot of people throw that term out there, marketing agency, branding agency. So do you mind expanding on that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, usually when you become a freelancer and you start offering a service, you eventually hit this, I guess, like ceiling of how many clients you can take. The natural sort of evolution of that is hiring team members and taking on more clients so that you can handle more capacity. That's what we call an agency at the end of the day.
Okay.
So it's a service-based business where usually it starts with one really good person that's really good at what they do, and lots of people want to work with them because of it. And because of that, instead of capping their capacity, they end up building teams and doing that as an agency.
And what about that makes you do that all the time? Because you said you had like 3 agencies, 4 agencies,
Yeah, 3 agencies.
3 agencies. What keeps you motivated to do that?
You know, I believe that the agency business model is one of the best business models, especially for entrepreneurs that are getting started. Like for me, I got started with an agency. It was the first business that I've ever run 10 years ago. And, you know, throughout the last decade, I have learned everything about lead generation, everything about sales, everything about project management, everything about delivery, and every possible problem that can come from, you know, scaling a business to $1 million a month. And I think the agency business model makes it easy to turn business into a self-development challenge because your agency is not going to grow if you don't grow as a professional. And that's what keeps me going, honestly. It's this self-development challenge of like, how do I get to the next level and how do I get to the next stage? And what problem do I have to solve? Because business is a never-ending exercise in problem solving. And the agency is just a certain methodology of problem solving within the world of business.
Absolutely agree, and I'm a witness to that as well. Going back to what you mentioned about self-development, the core values that makes a person. What are some things that you really need to change or overcome in order to level up as a person and also as a business owner?
I mean, like everything.
Okay.
Like if I had to like compare myself to how I was when I got started 10 years ago, compared to now, I'm not the same person at all. And it's because I had to change the way I thought about so many things. You know, just even questions around money, even questions around like how much your work is worth, right? When I started my first websites that I sold when I was 24 years old, I sold it for $35.
My God.
You know, didn't know how much to sell a website for. Like this client on Fiverr needed it. I was like, sure, I'll do it for $35. It took me a week, you know, but at least it was the first client, and I was like, you know, like I just want to do something. I just want to make $1 online, right? Now fast forward to today, like, you know, we're selling websites for 7 figures in some cases, you know. So there has been a lot of growth in like changing the way I thought around how much we can charge, what is worth, right? What money is, right? Like, and how to leverage money. Also, how to like coach and talent, right? Like your team members, they rely on the agency owner. They follow his vision, so it's very important to be able to attract the right people and coach these people to be able to become the problem solvers that they are and be able to grow. So yeah, like there's a lot of self development that comes with running an agency at every level, like at every level, even around you know, work life balance. Like so many agency owners are just working 90-hour weeks and 100-hour weeks, and you know, at certain times of the business you have to do that for sure, but eventually you kind of have to ask yourself if that's sustainable, and how do you still grow this business having that work life balance, especially as you sort of get older and family becomes more important and things like this. So it's it's a journey, but it's a journey that keeps you stimulated.
And it kind of forces you, as you said, to grow, to evolve. And again, talking about work-life balance, what are some sacrifices you see people making that not necessarily they have to make in order to get to where they want to be?
I mean, it could be all sorts of stuff, right? Like I think the one that touches me the most because I'm a dad is just like people not spending enough time with their children just because they have to run agencies and they're constantly traveling and trying to close the next big deal and trying to be accountable and be a good agency owner. And in a lot of cases, I see the kids sort of taking um, I hit on that in terms of relationship with their dad or their mom or and things like that. So that's the one that hits me the most. So I definitely, once you start having kids, it's important to spend time with them, and like even if the business grows slower, like I think it's like a sacrifice worth making. Um, yeah, so that would be one. The other one is really around when especially like for agencies like mine where we have clients all over the place and we try to build relationships with clients all over the place. There's a lot of travel. There's a lot of travel required, and so even that, right? Like just having to travel every month, like having to figure out where's the next conference I go to or where's the next like person that I need to talk to and meet in person. Like that comes with its own sort of sacrifices that you have to make, and sometimes you can cut down on those. So it's about asking yourself these kinds of questions.
Okay. And when does one decide, or what are the benchmarks that one has to reach in order to know that they made it?
That
Or-
they made it.
Yeah, that they made it.
Okay, that's an interesting question. Um, dude, like I don't know. Like
Oh, let's go with
it's-
personal experience. When did you first think?
I still don't feel like I made it.
Okay.
I still don't feel like I made it.
And we're talking to
And
somebody that has 3 agencies, generated a lot of.
I've had successes, like, but I probably had over 100 failures for every one success that I've had.
Okay.
So it's just that when we're business people, so when we're together, we talk about what went great.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like 100 things that went wrong for that one thing to go great, and that's just like the reality of it. And I've grew businesses to a pretty large size and lost it all in just like a matter of months and had to rebuild it. And so I've been through those ups and downs of business quite a bit, and yeah, like I know that it could happen again, and it probably will. Like most of my clients today are people that are high net worth individuals, and they have hundreds of millions of dollars and stuff like that. And I've seen people fall from that height, right? So literally having hundreds of millions of dollars to having nothing, and having to rebuild it. And so that humbles you after a while once it happens to you and once you see it happen to your clients. And so it's yeah, I know it can happen again, and so like it's just part of the game. So I don't consider myself as like successful because I know that there's a lot more that I want to do. But also, even if you have a little bit of success at any given time throughout your journey, don't get too comfortable because you can lose it all and have to rebuild it.
Well, expanding on that, is that fear of loss still prominent in you?
Not as much as it was. They talk about exposure therapy, right?
Yes.
So
Oh my God.
It's kind of like that, right? Like once it happens to you, it's like a little bit easier the second time or the third time, and you also predict it a lot quicker, and you can also pivot before it happens in a lot of cases. And so, yeah, it's sort of like you're riding a bike and you fall, but after that first fall, you don't fall again because you've learned your lesson. So it's kind of like that.
Amazing. I want to ask you an interesting question that I heard on another podcast before. We talked earlier, and you have some resources online. You've been on podcasts. You have like your teachings or some knowledge out there in the world. If you were to disappear and you could only leave the world with one sentence, one phrase that would have the biggest impact on somebody's life, what would that be?
Deep question. Deep question. You know what? Like it's something that I've actually thought about this week, so I actually know how to answer this question.
All right.
It's not that deep.
Okay.
It's not that deep.
Let's do it.
Like no matter what happens, it's not that deep. That's what I would leave the world with, if I could leave with anything.
Amazing.
Yeah. So no matter, even if something really bad happens in your life, like there is different ways to look at it, right? And I have this like anecdote that I usually tell. It's kind of a weird anecdote, so disclaimer. Okay. I was driving from Toronto to Montreal last year, and all of a sudden, I'm driving and I see on the road there's this long trail of blood and guts, right? And right away I feel traumatized. I'm like, oh my God, someone got hit by a truck here and got dragged onto the street, and I'm driving over it, and I'm like, and I'm traumatized. I'm like, how can people let this happen? Like, oh my God, is this person okay? And I was really like feeling anxious about what I had just witnessed. And I drove 100 meters down the line, and I looked by the side of the road, and I see a dead deer. And then I realized that it was a deer that died. And for some reason, I went from, holy shit, this is a horrible, traumatizing experience, to, oh, it was just a deer. You know?
Yeah.
But that event was like the perfect, is the perfect anecdote for like I was able to shift my perspective about something I had witnessed so quickly, like literally happened within a minute. And that's something that we can do in any case. Like no matter what happens, if you really want to look at what's happening to you through a different perspective and live that emotion instead, you can. So nothing is that deep. It's not that deep.
That's amazing. And expanding on that, how does one develop this ability to shift their perspective?
It's like going to the gym, right? You just gotta you just gotta put in the reps, right? Like you gotta remind yourself that this is the tool that you have to get through very difficult moments. It's this perception shift that you can make within yourself, right? Just taking a moment, reviewing the events and what you're going through right now, allowing your body to feel, right? And then once you have gone through that, getting to a new perspective and reminding yourself that it's not that deep. It's never that deep.
I'm going to dream about that. Oh, yeah, I wanted to ask you this earlier. Is there something you haven't achieved yet?
Tons of stuff.
What's the next on your list?
Oh, dude, like on my phone, on the background of my phone, there's a vision board.
Beautiful.
For all of the things that I want to achieve.
Can you show that to the camera real
like,
quick? There it is.
I have a vision board right there, and I have $100 million. I haven't achieved that yet. Mm-hmm. There is a beautiful $20 million mansion in Westmount that I want.
Okay. It's an actual mansion?
Oh yeah, this is a real house in Westmount.
Beautiful.
Right? Like, and there's a car collection.
Oh, can't see it, but
Growth. Oh yeah, sorry. Growth every single day. You know, my son being happy, my relationship going well, right? Like these things are like really important in life. So lots of things I think I still haven't achieved yet.
Amazing.
And that keep needing work.
Is that something that you've been doing for a long time? The vision board on your phone?
Yeah, it was actually Dan Martel that does this. So I'm in Dan Martel's like coaching group.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that he mentioned is that, you look at your phone 150 times a day. So you might as well use that real estate to remind you what you're working towards. It gives you that little bit more of like direction and guidance and motivation. And so, yeah, I've been doing that for maybe the last 3-4 years, like since I've been in Dan Martel's group. He's a pretty good coach.
Excellent. And I think we have time for one last question. And since you mentioned your son, I'd like to ask you this. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 35.
35. What would you say to the 10-year-old Damiano that was probably in high school? 10 years old? Yeah, you're in high school. You're starting high school? Maybe.
No, I think 10 years old, you're like in grade 5.
Okay, so let's say 12. You're starting high school.
Right.
What's a piece of advice you would give the younger you?
Keep your Pokemon cards. Fucking keep your Pokemon cards, dude. Trust me.
Yeah.
That
Oh my god. I was expecting a life lesson. No, no, no. Keep the Pokemon. That Pikachu, that Charizard.
yeah,
That's
just try to see. I mean, I guess what's the life lesson from that, right? Like, try to like be wired towards looking for opportunities, even if other people don't see them at that specific time. So keep your Pokemon cards.
amazing.
Yeah.
We'll end on that note. Keep your Pokemon cards. Excellent. Thank you, Damiano.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right.